Pudge, what time is
It's time for the Chubby Guys podcast.
Woo!
By God, we're back.
Here we go.
How quick was that?
Yeah,
Look
man.
at that,
Hey,
Davis.
yeah, I
Jumped right in.
Yeah,
Tyler, we good?
I mean, I missed the last one. I'm feeling
You did.
feeling
You
good to
did.
be back.
You did. And I was here, though. I represented.
Spring. I mean, I'm going to be spotty, guys. Yeah, I apologize.
I know. We've talked about it.
Scrimmage finished fast tonight. So
Did you have scrimmage? No.
yeah, we scrimmaged.
How was it?
I thought it was all right. I don't know. I sat in the outfield.
Did you?
Yeah,
I got to get to that.
yeah. I sat back there in the outfield.
I got to get to that part.
And on my rocker chair, bud.
Didn't have to talk to nobody?
Well, I talked to my wife.
Yeah, but I
and
mean,
Rozzy.
Hey, Chubbies, is your driveway and yard just an absolute mud hole from this spring and winter? Hey, we got just the guy to call. Call Brian Dulaney Excavating at 740-418-6994. He can haul your gravel. He can put in drains. The man can do it all. He's an absolute machine. Give him a call today. Didn't have to worry about kids, nothing.
No.
Oh, I got to get there.
Yeah.
I got to get there. Did you ever coach your boys whenever I was young?
No.
Didn't
have to. They're in Westerville, so it's like they actually had friggin'
Super dads are
professional.
everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
Half
they
the
probably
damn
had
dads play professional baseball,
or
right?
ex-Ohio State players
exactly.
or something.
So,
Yeah,
I didn't have
we had
to.
we had Steve Little come down here for a baseball camp a few weeks ago, and I was asking him about the differences in Columbus and here, and he goes, Pudge, he goes, I would tell you, but you're just not going to understand.
Yeah.
He said the first time that he ever went up there, and he pulled his Olentangy, there was 5 fields all packed with people.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, he said the talent level, just the involvement.
Oh, yeah.
It's big time.
Night and day from here in
Big time. Well, and it's not for any reason other than
Numbers.
It's scale. It's just scale. Just
Well,
scale.
I mean, you know, like the travel ball team my son's on. I mean, it's just Jackson kids, a Wellston kid or two, just local kids. When we go to a tournament like the second team we're playing Saturday, they try out from all around the greater Dayton area. Okay, so like they might start. I don't know when their tryout is. Probably in the fall. I mean, there might be 70 kids show up, and you're picking the best 11 or 12. And then we're rolling in there with a bunch of Jackson County boys. But
you're trying to find a team for.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we got. You know? And
Well, typically you guys hang with them, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, if we can get in the right bracket or whatever, yeah. I mean, we'll do all right. We can hold our own, but there's some of them that, I mean,
that's all how you frame it to the boys.
Right. And I mean, our kids, they don't realize that, like, you know, hey, we don't have these big tryouts, guys. I mean, this is
You're on the team.
Your boys are working here now, ain't they?
Right now they are.
And
right now.
What do they think about? I mean, I know they've always known Jackson, but what do they think about Jackson since they're spending a substantial amount of time here now?
So they actually like Jackson a lot.
Really? Do they spend nights here, or
No,
they live here?
they drive. Like they both live.
They don't like it enough to stay.
One of them. Well, I mean, they got one of them. One of them's got a little girl, and the other one's got a new German Shepherd. So basically, you know, they got their kids, and
they drive back
gotta
like
get home.
Columbus, or okay,
Yeah,
that's an easy.
But
drive,
they love it because the people here are very friendly and have treated them very well. It's like so they do construction work, they do remodeling, and so the people at 84, the people at Callahan Hardware, they have gotten to know them over the years, and
you
they
can build a relationship.
They like them because in Columbus, you walk into a hardware store, you don't have 9 people come and say, "How can we help you?"
Yeah,
right. And you do here.
Oh yeah,
and
well, you know, Jackson is a weird place in the fact that, like, everybody does know everybody, and a lot of times we look at it like, man, that kind of sucks, and sometimes it does.
It does,
but
sometimes it does not.
Yeah, well, I mean, dude, I'll go there. I mean, you ran a very successful business for several years, and I mean, in Columbus, and you had like Jackson people working there all over the place, dude. I mean, like
bunches of them.
Yeah, and I mean, because like you know something about them, you know. I don't know. Like I've been that way, dude. Like wherever I've been now, like if I got an opportunity to hire a Jackson person, but they're on, because now it creates a little bit different level of accountability too.
Well,
it's like
you know, and you know the parents, and there's there's a certain level of work ethic.
Yes,
and a certain there's just it's different.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that Jackson's any different than any other small town, probably, but
probably not.
But this is just the one that we grew up in.
Have you just lived in Columbus and Jackson?
I lived in Indianapolis for a while.
Did you?
Cool town. You can pick people up out of Columbus and take them to Indianapolis and drop them off and not tell them where they were, and they think they're still in Columbus.
I was going to say, I've heard it. I mean, and I've worked there
very
some,
similar.
but I've not been there like a long enough to like. I've been there for work in and out.
Where it differs is it does have that professional sports franchise vibe about it.
Yeah. Whereas
other than that,
see,
that's
Columbus
never going to happen in Columbus.
Yeah, well, but if you look at it in Columbus, like Ohio State is almost the same.
It is
as having a professional franchise. I mean,
like people being rabid about it.
Yeah,
it's more so.
I think it is.
So.
I mean, and I think it's difficult to compare that around college football. I mean, maybe like Nebraska. It's kind of that way. There's nothing
LSU,
else there.
Georgia.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of programs like
and
that.
SEC, right.
But it's a different animal. But other than that, Indy is very close to Columbus.
Well, I mean, it's a cool city. The times I've been there, but and I've always heard that hey man, get a guy drunk in the middle of the night in Columbus, take him to Indianapolis. He wakes up and he still thinks he's at home.
Yeah.
You feel like that's true? Living in both places?
1,000%.
Okay.
1,000%. So I'm pinch hitting tonight. I'm not supposed to
you're not even supposed to be.
I'm not even supposed to be.
Yeah. Thanks for cheers.
What's up? Cheers. We're so glad to have you back. I mean, second time guest.
Yeah, you're a two-timer.
Hey, you know what? At that point, we used to start friend of the program.
Well, yeah, friend of the program.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You ever been called that?
You ever been called friend of the program? Such a.
I'm not going to answer that question.
Well, I mean, I already kissed his ass pretty hard here tonight.
Did you?
With my typical line. What do I always say about Mike Davis?
No man can make a phone ring like Mike Davis.
See, Mike, it's true. I do tell people that.
Yeah, I've heard that 1,000 times.
Yeah.
I said the same thing.
I've heard that 1,000 times.
I appreciate that compliment.
Yeah, there is no doubt, man. I've worked in sales for the last
30 years.
Yeah, almost, and never is there a guy that can light up a phone line like this gentleman right here.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Chad and I were talking before you got here. You were off at your board meeting.
Yeah.
And
the board.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we're announcing
we have an
here first on the Chubby Bartenders, one of your Chubby guys, one of your own Chubbies. Is now a board member at the local.
Don't even tell him. Don't even tell him where it's at. Don't even tell him.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we'll let him figure it out. Hey, mine Google. I mean, get after it. I mean, stalk his Facebook page.
Well, you'll be able to probably tell soon.
Yeah,
this was a tough decision. I am at the point. Speaking of knowing lots of people, okay.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be where I'm at if I didn't know lots of people.
Hey, bud, that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about, But I'm just at the point where I'm done with stuff. Like I'm done with
like what?
Like I'm done trying to be, and I don't mean this in a bad way. I'm worried about my family. I'm worried about 1546 Irwin Road. That's
turning the eyes inside a little bit.
Because it just kind of hit me here a few months ago that, or within the last year, probably once I left the bar, and I mean, what kind of raggedness that will put on you. And that was kind of one of the major things. Was like, man, I'm not gonna get these.
And that was your
back.
B job.
Yeah, that was my B job.
Yeah. Work all day and then work all night.
Well, that one was one that you had to just work all day and night. That was just.
Has there ever in the history of Earth been an industry where the romanticized preconception is so far off from the reality?
I get people and they light up. They're like, man, why'd you get out of that? And I'm like, why'd I get in it is the question.
Well, you think about it, okay? If we're talking about a bar like that, let's flip it to the consumer side. The people are like, man, why would you get out of that? I mean, because look, man, when I'm going there, I'm all fired up. I'm like, man, this will be great. I'm going to go there and,
about the first month,
drink a few beers and this will be great until like you're on the other side of the bar or you're running a business and you're dealing with, a guy like me that comes in there and I'm pretty cool the first 2 or 3 beers, and then it's like, God, that guy, would he just shut the hell up?
It was bad until
jackass.
Yeah, I know, but this guy just shut up.
Well, and in a small town, you get to the point where everybody, and I loved them for it, and it was great. But I mean, sometimes I just really I'm sure everybody's like this, but I really just kind of wanted to be left alone and go home.
Yes.
And just have some time to just space out for myself. And you get guys or people that would come in and, man, hey, I'm in your bar. Where are you? And it's like, well, I just left there 10 minutes ago. I've been there for 12 hours today.
Yeah.
Not texting you is what I'm doing.
No offense, dude, but I don't feel like hanging out.
Yeah.
You said something to me several years ago, and I believe it to be 1,000% true. The problem with the bar business in a small town, and I think that this translates to any small town, not just Jackson, Ohio.
So many people.
You've got multiple watering holes.
Right.
Some of them are cool, and others are just watering holes, and some of them are like restaurant watering. Whatever. At the end of the day, there is about $3,000 a day for the bar business, and it just flows from place to place to place. So people get really creative on how you attract to get your piece of that $3,000, right?
And if you're wrong,
there is no more.
If you're wrong and you don't get any of it,
you're screwed.
You went in whole that day.
You lost money that day.
You lost money that day.
1,000%.
And I mean, that was what
I mean, is there a business that's easier to lose money in?
Oh yeah, it's the margins are good. The margins are good, all of that, and the tips are good for the employees and all of that.
You're living for Fridays and Saturdays.
You are. It's almost like being in retail where you hope that you can break even for the year on Black Friday.
Yeah, like you're actually trying to fight for foot traffic.
Yes,
which
in a town with no feet.
Yeah, well, I mean, with only X amount of feet that have enough dough in their pocket to come in there and
I used
do
to.
that.
And I believe this is absolutely 1,000% true. There is no more or less. We'll just say craft beer or craft cocktail or whatever the thing is. There's no more or less in Jackson, Ohio than there is anywhere else on a percentage of the population basis.
Sure.
The problem that you get into in these areas, in the smaller areas, is that you just don't have enough total count of people in order to bring that to you. And it's not good or bad. It's just
the nature of the game.
It's a math problem. It's a math problem.
Right.
It really is.
And then top that off with COVID.
Well,
that was a game changer. I mean, no businesses got hit harder than bars,
it was probably
going
full circle on this topic. That was what opened up my eyes. Is whenever COVID hit, actually this started and we had time to just sit around and have a beer. And I mean, how many times did we get to do that before COVID? I didn't get to see anybody.
No, not very often.
And COVID I was spending more time at home, and I was like, man, I'm not going to get these years back with Gibson, you know. Yeah. And so I didn't want to get on a board, and I didn't want to. I just kind of wanted to check out for a period of time, and just say, hey, man, I'm just worried about my group right now.
Right.
But this board that I did just join, it is something that
the greater good calls, bud.
Well, it's something I've been involved with since we figured it out tonight in 1994.
There you go, man.
So something I've been a member of it since it opened, and so it's something. And it's not a huge time commitment like other things I've done. That Jeeper for Joy was just a monster. I mean, that thing was that. Well, I would be planning that right now.
Well, here's what I'm saying. Listen. I know you do well. I mean, this board just lit themselves afire.
Well,
and I'm talking about it in a good way.
Events are a common.
Yeah, there will be events. Hey, they might need more money. Well, they're going to have it. Because it is you're gifted at it, dude.
Well, thank you.
And as much as I know, Mindy and Gibson like to have you home every night. I think they could share you a little bit with the community on something like this. And congratulations, and more so, congratulations to the place that just put you on the board. But
thank you.
I think it's a win for everybody for sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm happy about it. But I'm real happy with my life right now. I'm real happy with it. In the last 14 months, I have made some great moves. I got this building.
Oh yeah.
I cut my workload in half, and then whenever I did that, this workload tripled at Guild Insurance. So
right.
there's just lots of good stuff happening. I'm just happy right now. So
I'm gonna shed a tear.
You should, Mike. You should. Well, you guys are killing it too,
dude. I'm just hoping to get there one of these days.
Oh,
man.
you're there.
Hell,
you vacation more than man.
I'm just hoping to get there, man.
Yes,
That's all
right.
I'm doing.
All right.
The next, I tell you what, our next move is, Reynolds.
Yeah.
Maybe you can help us with this.
Yeah.
We got to get Tyler to quit cutting his grass.
Yeah. Hey, do you cut your own grass, Mike?
I got Drew Wiley. Why the hell would I cut?
Blasphemy. Yeah. Come on, Tyler.
You're the only one.
Got a 16-year-old kid living in the house.
Yeah.
Not a chance.
Yeah, see, that's going to be the difference.
I don't
for
mind
me.
cutting grass, honestly.
Oh, I hate it.
I despise it. That's the biggest.
And I think I was the first one. I was an innovator on this. I was like, you know what, man?
Started out on Franklin Townhouse.
Yeah. Oh, out there, I couldn't get rid of that house fast enough.
When you moved to the country,
Yeah, well, that was a mistake.
I thought, boy, this ain't
That
good.
was a mistake. Yeah. Now I could do it more effectively. Like I think, I wouldn't mind having that house back with all the space and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, geez, it'd cut that grass the same as he does mine.
Oh, yeah.
On this lot. Well, because I'll never one of the things I'll factor into my next home purchase. Well, how much does it cost to cut the yard?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
but I mean, the thing is, when my work requires a little bit of travel here and there. Okay, and I was coming home, and then I'd be exhausted. I'm there on Friday.
That's
It's
the last thing
now
you
I got to
wanna
go out
do
there and mow
is
the
go
grass.
out,
Now,
yeah.
given my yard takes about 12 minutes to mow, probably. I mean, you could really make fun of me if a guy really wanted to make me feel like a woman or whatever they wanted to do.
I'm resisting the urge.
Yeah. I mean, hey, look, man. It's hey, I apologize to no one.
Yeah.
I don't want to cut the grass. I did. That's
What are you doing up there at Buckeye?
I got a guy.
You got a guy? Yeah.
Yeah, because we're renting the property some, and so it's got there's sometimes when we can't get up there.
Sure,
you
2
know,
3 weeks.
It's 2 or 3 weeks, and so it's
Well, I mean, there are guys there, and Tyler, maybe you're one of them. I think you've maybe made this argument before. There are guys that are like, man, I enjoy cutting.
Well, they're crazy.
Like,
They need new hobbies. If you're listening to this, if you're a part of the Chubbies, and you enjoy cutting grass, I know what headphones are you using? Because I know you're not listening to podcasts. Your motor's too loud.
Yep.
Okay, so
That's a lie.
Yeah.
huh?
I'm listening to podcasts while mowing.
Well, then your grass is too short. You shouldn't be mowing it.
Oh,
What kind of mower you use?
Yeah.
You just pushing one of those that doesn't have a motor, like
Surely you don't push mow that.
yeah.
no.
I was gonna say you got a big yard.
It's a rider.
Okay, a rider.
Zero turn,
No, just traditional rider.
old fashioned, dude.
And you're headphoning it and podcasting it the whole time.
That's
you're
right.
doing it. I still think that's bad. You shouldn't do it.
I'll send you a selfie next time.
One of these times, we're going to get him. Something's going to hook him. He's going to get pissed off mowing his yard.
Yeah, but next time you got to buy a mower, go out and spend $10,000 on a mower. You can get a lot of cuts out of that.
Yeah.
A lot of them. So
Yeah, I sold off the whole lot.
I still got mine just in case
I
of
don't
emergency.
have one tool. I you know what? I could not mow my lawn.
You don't have nothing to do with. No weed eater.
I'd
no
have to go out and buy nothing. All of it gone. I mean, I'm committed.
Has any of these home buyers that you guys are dealing with, have they ever pulled up and said, "Boy, that yard looks like shit"?
I don't deal with home. I don't have to talk to. I don't. That's not my thing. I am the guy behind the scenes.
Yeah,
making
yeah. You're doing the media stuff.
And the sales management,
Making
and that
the
kind of
phones
stuff.
ring, dude.
Making
I
the phones ring.
guarantee
Yeah,
it.
you found what you're good at, making the phones ring. Do you miss making beer?
Yes, I miss the creative part. I don't miss the
The business part.
The business part. I loved making beer.
Yeah, well,
I loved.
I think you shared with us the last time you were on here. Like you were passionate
I
about that, and
love it.
probably still are.
Yeah, love
I
it.
mean, yeah.
Like it's a super cool thing when you can create something that people enjoy.
Yeah.
And you get to watch them enjoy something that you
that
make.
is cool.
Like
Yeah.
that's a really cool thing, and not a lot of people do it. But I had a conversation with a guy this week about it. Sorry, I'm not wearing a hat. It's fucking, and it was, the conversation was kind of centered around the fact that is the greatest industry that I have ever seen in terms of cooperation and collaboration amongst competitors. Everybody is rooting for everybody else to do well.
That's really
and
cool,
everybody
man.
will help everybody do well. And I missed that. Like I miss that camaraderie. I stopped up at if anybody gets a chance, and I'm going to give a shameless plug, because this place is so freaking cool. In Granville, Ohio, there's a little brewery called, it used to be a little brewery called Three Tigers. And a cat by the name of Scott Wilkins is the primary owner of the place. And they had this, please, Tyler, and they had this really cool space. And when he was young, he spent a lot of time like backpacking through Vietnam and Thailand.
Ooh, wow.
Like, and he loved it, and he loved the cuisine, and he loved it. And he came back and he met his future wife, and they went back and they backpacked together through Vietnam and Thailand and all this. It was really cool. So he comes back and they started a food truck, and the food truck led to some investors saying, let's open a brewery, and the food can be your food truck food.
Yeah.
And then, so the next thing, like several years later, they opened this new brewery, and they took the old fire station in Granville, Ohio.
Oh my.
And turned it into the most badass. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. And the food is 10 out of 10. The beer is really solid, and if you're up by Granville, I'm just going to give him a.
Is he specializing in any certain type of beer? Or is he going all over the board?
He's all over the board. He's like, you have to be anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
But they used to be. He told me that they used to be 70% food, and 30% beer in this much smaller space, and in the new space they're about 40% beer, 60% food, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So they're selling a lot more beer. They got a big rig. We went in the brew house. It was really cool. And it was one of those things where it's like, I miss those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because they're just positive. They're just.
Can you get the same kind of a rush if you go out in your garage and make some beer? Like you go out there and just try a new mix and make an IPA, and share it with your friends that come over.
But the way I'm going to get the rush is having you guys come over and having you guys try my beer.
Yeah, right.
Like that is the rush.
That's where it is.
The sharing of that. That's the thing that I miss.
Okay.
But
can you get that same rush by making a batch or two on your own?
I could. I just don't have time.
Yeah, right.
I wish I did.
You're occupied.
I wish I did. I wish I had time.
You're kind of like me in the fact that a lot of times you take your hobbies and you turn them into a business.
Well, there's that, but like, I mean, the logistics of making beer is it's a 5-6 hour day.
Yeah, right.
I don't care whether you're making 5 gallons or they Jennifer and Jamie put in this production plant up here. It doesn't matter. Like, it just doesn't matter. It's 5-6 hours to make a batch of beer.
Yeah.
And it's like playing golf. Do you have time to go play golf?
If you don't start.
Sometimes you don't have 5 or 6 hours to go play a round of golf.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard to find 5 or 6 hours to make a batch of beer. And so that's the thing that I always butt my head up against. I got the gear to do it. I wish I could. And maybe someday I'll slow down.
You still like doing it.
Love doing it. I love that creative thing. I love being able to do it. But and look, since I got out of it was 3 years ago or so, the industry has evolved at an epic pace.
Well, and I mean, even like if you took the 3 or 4 years before that, like craft beer has.
It's yes.
I mean,
the biggest problem in that world right now. And I don't want to make this another beer podcast, but the biggest there's a problem right now with craft beer, and it's called legalized weed.
Oh yeah.
And it's eating
same clientele.
Well,
right?
yeah, and it eats into the gross revenues because for obvious reasons, and it's nationwide. It's becoming a problem, and it's making the business harder and harder. And I have so much respect for people who are in the business because you have to be so attuned to your margins, and you have to you can't make mistakes, and you have to just be on it all the time.
You can't have a bad batch.
Your packaging has to be on point, and you can't. So Jackie O's is a good example of they have the brew pub where they'll make 7-barrel batches, and they have the creativity part there where their brewer there gets to do whatever to get crazy, right? And if you hit gold, then we'll take that to the production brewery and we'll make a big batch of that, right? Not very, very few people have the ability to do that.
So they're kind of trying it out there in Athens and saying,
which isn't really indicative because, it's frickin' OU. They'll drink.
Yeah, those guys are drinking Busch Light.
So it doesn't matter what's in
like,
there.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what's in the tank. They're going to drink it.
Yeah.
So but it's an interesting business. But yeah, to answer the question, I miss it. I miss the creativity of it, but I mostly miss the people that were in it. And I still talk to a lot of them. Some of them on a pretty frequent basis.
Well, do you find yourself enjoying going to these establishments, or is it one of those things where you're like, man, I'd like to do this again?
No.
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 You're happy to just go be a patron.
I wouldn't even sell Girl Scout cookies. That's how far away from the food and drink retail business I
No.
am.
Because I don't want to be in the liquor business.
Right.
That's just it.
Boy, it's a big change. And like you said, and what you started the conversation with, there's probably never been a more romanticized business venture
than being in the bar business.
Than being in the bar or liquor business.
Well, I did. I was guilty of it. You were guilty of it.
Who isn't?
Well,
I mean,
you had what I would refer to as like the armchair quarterback syndrome, where you sat on a bar stool for years and years and years
and watched it
and thought, okay, I'm smarter than everybody else. If I do this,
I had to front view stage from playing in them.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you played in how many bars?
Oh, hundreds. And you see how they all work.
But it's never as easy as it looks.
No.
Until you're the monkey on the wheel.
Oh my, yeah.
It's not that easy, and it's a tough business. And you get the calls at 11:30 at night from the bartender that two guys got in a fight and the mirror's broken in the bathroom and the toilet's
the
leaking.
day that broke me.
Yeah, that was it.
That was it. I went in there at 11. I'd been in there since 5:30 that morning, and we had a breakfast meeting or something that day, and I left out of there at 11 o'clock, and I was at night. Okay, so I was there at 5:30 a.m. I leave at 11 o'clock at night. I'll never forget this. I passed Taco Bell, and I hit my pocket to get a chew, and I'd forgotten it on the desk. Okay, along with my wallet. So I had to turn around.
Okay, you got to go back. Like the phone, maybe, but not the wallet.
Yeah. So I was like, man,
you couldn't just whip it around to Gillespie.
Well, first you can't get through Taco Bell, and that's needed.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I got to go back. Mm-hmm. I go back. I walk in the back door, and all I hear is call 911, and there was a big old Donnybrook going on up there, and I was like, and I ended up getting out there at 1:30 in the morning, and that was a 20-hour day.
Yeah,
and I was so spent. I was so just exhausted at that point. And I mean, I'm not saying I'm the hardest worker in the world, but I can go.
Oh yeah,
I can go pretty hard, you know.
But you get over like the fights and stuff like that.
So the question for me becomes, and for what?
Yeah, well, I looked at for what. And then that next morning, I went to Gillum Insurance on a Saturday and had to get caught up because I'd missed all day on Friday. And I saw what I had made at Gillum Insurance versus what I had made in that bar. And I was like, this is a no-brainer. That was the easiest deal.
I'm going to make a phone call.
Yeah, I said, here goes his email. We're done.
And then that goes to the whole thing of focus.
Yeah.
Of when you decide that you're going to do a B, a business B, like how much is that going to take away from you? Mm-hmm. And it's a lot. I don't care. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. You can say it's not going to, and this won't affect my primary. You can say that all you want to. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
It will.
Now I will say this. This is kind of my B now.
This is not the same thing.
But it could be even better.
Yeah.
And
well, the difference in this is like we enjoy.
I enjoy it. I need this.
Yeah,
I need to
honestly,
podcast.
I don't know. Do we call this like a hobby? Or,
I don't know that we call it a business as much as we do just.
Well, you know what I think is it's the most unique.
A business
thing.
would presume that there's profit at the end.
Yeah,
there's getting ready to be.
Yeah, I mean, if we ever get to there, I don't know, man. Are we gonna start hating each other or something?
I hope not. Tyler, Tyler's pretty greedy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can see that he's starting to hate us right now.
I'm a pretty angry person.
Yeah,
overall.
I mean, he's seeing all this merch stuff. He's like, I'll tell you what, man.
$1 if you can hit it.
He's like, I don't know about you guys.
Oh, $1.
Yeah. There you go. I mean, I think that he's kind of like, man. Now, I mean, these guys.
Yeah, he's starting to hate us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm about sick of these texts.
This has never been work. And I mean, we've been at this now
Yeah.
for over 2 years.
A little over 2 years.
And well, actually, right at 2 years, because I'd say our first one, the pandemic hit in March of 20.
yeah.
So we would probably been pretty close to right into
We
now.
started a little bit before that.
Not on the pod.
No, but we started doing our little skits and all that stuff.
Yeah. But the
And-
podcast, we kind of went into that. And this has been one of the easiest, funnest things I've ever done.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's why we keep doing
Well,
it.
I think that's why we just keep coming back because this has been a fun venture for both of us.
Yeah.
I mean, this nice escape a little bit.
Sure.
Well, I
It's
can
like-
see it for both of you guys as being both therapeutic.
yeah.
And diversionary and, I mean,
Well,
just-
and I'll tell you what, Mike. Like, and tell me your thoughts on this. Like, I think Pudge and I both have the same character. We're different people, but like the one thing is, I love talking to people.
I like great conversation.
all
that
different- all
extrovert. It's the
different peoples.
extrovert piece.
Yeah, well, and I mean, man, like I have learned so much doing this show.
So I tell the
With the
story.
different
It's,
people.
it's an interesting thing. So I was listening. This is years ago to this cat by the name of Jay Abraham, and he's a sales trainer, and he was doing like DVDs and cassette tape.
Like Tom Hopkins.
Training,
Yeah, Tom
like
Hopkins
old
stuff.
school
Yeah,
stuff. And I heard this thing that he did one night, and he was talking about he was flying. He was doing a keynote in Australia, and he got there, and he's like the whole way over there. He's like, "What is it that makes some people interesting and some people aren't very interesting?
boring.
What is it about that?" And he had this theory about it, and so he goes to the hotel where he's staying, and he's doing the keynote in the ballroom at the hotel, and he gets there and he sees a cat who was basically the richest person, the most wealthy person in Australia at that time. Okay. And so he didn't go directly to him. He's smart enough. He went and found his number one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Let's talk to that guy.
And
More
told
accessible.
him exactly. And he said, "I am doing the keynote tomorrow, and I would like to meet blah blah blah, Johnny blah blah blah, whatever." And he said, "Is there a chance that you could connect me with him? I'd like to talk to him." So he did, and they had dinner together, and they ended up spending the night talking, and they went up on the rooftop bar until like 1 o'clock in the morning talking and had a great time. And he said his theory was at no point in the entire night did he say one word about himself. He only talked about and asked questions about the other guy. So next morning, they come down, they're doing breakfast, they're in the breakfast line, and the number one comes up to him and says, "I just want you to know that Mr. whatever his name was said that you are one of the most interesting people that he has ever talked to in his entire life." Now think about that. At no point did he say so his synopsis of that was, if you want to be interesting, be interested.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, like think about it. Is there a human being out there that doesn't like to talk about themselves?
Not one. It's one of our basic human needs.
It is. I mean, that is honestly, you take it back to its core. That's sales 101.
Absolutely.
Get them talking, dude.
So yeah, I mean, we could go down a sales rabbit hole because
I hope
there's
we do.
like
That's going to be part 2. We're going
like
to get
like
sales on.
there's a little sales background at the table right now. So
Yeah, a little bit.
How old are you? 70?
I will be.
Oh my God! Hey, you're allowed to punch him on the show, Mike.
I wouldn't do that. Listen, elders.
Are you 70
elders
yet?
should not destroy the youth.
Yeah.
It's bad for the. It's bad for the world.
So you've been at it for what?
I will
40
be.
years.
I will be 60 in November.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what though, man? You don't look.
You're
55.
running
You
a
don't
half
look 50.
marathon.
Yeah.
I'm running a half marathon in 2
dude,
weeks.
Like I honestly, and I've always said this, man. Like age is a number.
It is.
I have never gotten hung up on how old I am. Like I'm an old guy to have kids as young as what I've got.
It's
But
irrelevant.
it's like, yeah,
Utterly
dude,
irrelevant.
I don't care.
How old are the boys? They're 30. Aren't they?
Hold on. Trailing 28 and Derek's 34.
Yeah. So that's the big question in my house is if we're going to have another.
That's completely wrong. I am going to get my ass kicked now.
Are you?
I'm utterly completely wrong on that. I don't. But they're
Tell them not to listen.
Yeah.
To the first part.
They're so they are they are like they kind of get the philosophy of all of that. And my philosophy has always been, and I joke about this, and it's true, and I tell Kelly this all the time, like whatever the top number is, 59, 60, whatever, it's always going on 14.
Right.
Like, like that's the truth. And I will never change that. And the minute that I succumb to, and I've had friends in the past, really good friends, who have reached a point, and I don't know what causes it to happen.
Yeah.
But it does. Like one day
hit a
they're just
milestone
like,
and then they're
just like,
depressed or something
I'm
like-
fucking old.
Yeah.
And I'm not, and I'm old, and I'm not gonna have fun anymore, and I'm not gonna go out anymore, and I'm not, and I'm looking at this going, why would you do that? Like, why?
Yeah, dude. Like the way I look at it is, yeah, man. I mean, I guess I probably am old, but I'm gonna push this fat, ugly body as hard as I can. Dude.
Yes.
We're gonna go. I'm gonna
Yes.
suck the marrow
Yeah.
out of it. Bud.
I hope I
don't
just fall over,
I don't feel. I mean, Jimmy Buffett had one of my favorite songs from him, and I know you're a fan. It is. I assume you've heard the song "Growing Older but Not Up."
Absolutely. That's
And
that's my calling card.
that song speaks to me, dude.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
I'm growing older, but not up. And I mean, it's never been more true than in my case. Ask my wife. I mean,
Yeah.
she feels like she's got 4 kids instead of 3.
Like
I mean,
his brilliance as a songwriter really shines in that song.
Oh,
because like that is a good line, but that's way not the best
Listen
line
to the
of
whole
the song.
song.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah,
God.
yeah. Listen to the
it's
whole
like and the older you get, the more you're like, yep.
Yep. Oh, it's funny, man. Like there's so many Buffett tunes that I listen to, and I won't go down a Buffett rabbit hole. I know you're a huge fan.
Huge fan.
One of the best concerts I ever went to. I think you sponsored the event, man. I mean, it was awesome. But like,
You know, I didn't used to be. Like I used to be
I'm not a
like
Buffett
this
fan.
super serious, like all business all the time until my brother Jeff died. And he
then,
was a massive Buffett
and
fan.
that's what got you
This
into
is in the like he was a fan in the 70s when
he was on board.
like
I mean,
before Margaritaville store in
Yeah,
Key West existed. Like he was an early adopter, as they would say.
one of Al Cornbread Collins's best friends.
oh,
Jeff Davis.
oh my God.
Yeah. But I mean, I mean, you look at some of that. Like I started listening to Buffett when I was like a teenager, right? And you like all the songs, you get into it, songs you know by heart, you learn all those, then you take a deeper dive. But then now you look back at it when you're, you know, in your 40s and 50s, and like Little Miss Magic.
Yeah.
Even A Pirate Looks a 40.
All that is
I mean, all that
super
stuff
meaningful.
you're like, wow. Okay.
So he just did like a 2. I'm into vinyl again. So it's a 2 album
Yeah,
set,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's called Songs You Don't Know by Heart. Right.
my.
So he
I
went
didn't
back
even
and
know that
redid all of those old songs acoustically. And what was cool about it was he had his youngest daughter like film him, and she kind of narrated all of it in his studio. She's like talking to him, and he's like, I don't, he doesn't remember the words to him. And he
I
has
bet
to go
that's
back. And, like,
unbelievable.
it's awesome because it's like, that's life, man.
Yeah, I know,
that's
I know,
life,
I know,
right?
I know,
and
yeah.
and he still can play them and sing them. And one of the things I respect about him, and you'll like this, is that Buffett will be the first one to say, I am not even a good singer, and I'm not a good musician, but I am a businessman. And I understand what people want. Therefore, I will become very wealthy.
Well, yeah, and that's why you see Margaritaville hotels and restaurants. I mean, look at the progression that happened from not only when people started liking him, like when he actually, a lot of people call it selling out. And it's like, I'm kind of like, hey, dude, selling out, that's a bunch of bullshit. I mean, look, dude, I mean, what are you supposed to do? If you've got the brand, bro, go.
The people that
I
are
mean-
bitching about guys selling out are just mad because they ain't got
'Cause
it.
they're
There
not
you,
selling
there,
out.
there you go.
So,
Yeah.
so I told you earlier. So I'm reading this book right now called "Who Not How," and like it's been like a pivotal, probably the best book I've ever read in my life. It's life changing, and so it's basically about like what are the things you hate to do? Why are you doing things you hate to do? When you hire somebody to do things, like there's somebody else out there who would love to do
it.
loves that
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
But like, so anyway, so Buffett is one of the best examples of that I've ever seen. That Margaritaville store in Key West, he'd had nothing to do with. It was started by a chick by the name of Sunshine Smith, and she was the one who started it all. She was a friend of Jimmy Buffett, and she's just like, listen, like, you're known for Key West and all this. Let me open this store and we'll do this. And she's the one who grew that whole thing while he was out on the road, and now he just gets royalties from it.
there you go.
Like, but he found his who.
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of being the guy who said, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this?
Yeah.
No, I mean, he looks at
found
like,
a who.
hey, man, what am I good at? What do I like to do?
Right. He did what he's great at and what he
Yeah,
loves to do.
yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, that whole thing has been really interesting to watch over the years. But when we lost Jeff, I was just like, all right, well, there must be something to this.
Right.
And I kind of got into it. And it's a lifestyle. It's not that the guy's a great singer. He's a terrible singer.
Yeah.
He's a pretty good songwriter.
Well, I mean, it's driven me towards like, I mean,
writes songs that
if he
speak to
thinks he's a bad singer, listen to John Prine. You know, I mean,
What a loss that was.
oh my God, hey, can Bob Dylan sing?
No.
I mean, but
he's a poet.
Oh, buddy,
He
I
writes
mean-
and he sings songs that speak to people.
yeah, the death of the unpopular poet.
And they those guys though, they write
The Winona
thousands
Nina.
of songs.
Sure they do.
Oh, yeah.
Like they are not just
It's amazing that they can still remember,
they can't
or that they can.
they
I
can
mean,
remember their set.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, they'll
yeah,
practice
yeah.
their set and go
Before
do
they
it.
go.
Yeah, before
Yeah.
they go, but they don't. I mean, so is that why you're back into the game with the guitar? Let's talk about your hobby.
No,
Hey,
man.
wait, part two.
Part 2, you got to take a piss.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up.
We
part
are
1.
getting older.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up on one.
I'm growing old, not up. Or I'm not.
If you haven't heard that song, you need to listen.
But now
to
he's
it.
gotta go
Well,
piss.
my bladder isn't growing.
That's 40
stronger.
minutes, isn't it?
Yeah,
42.
my bladder isn't growing stronger.
No, clearly not.
yeah. I
It
mean,
should have had plenty
I'm
of practice
growing
by now.
older, and my bladder seems to be getting smaller. You know, and then I say we take a little.
All right, part
break,
two
and
coming
then
up.
we go